Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to this webinar on the HolyGrail 2030 Flex PP market demonstration in Belgium. My name is Margherita Trombetti. I am a project manager for HolyGrail at AIM, the European Brands Association, and who is facilitating the HolyGrail project. And today I am joined by two of the core team Belgian members, Richard Ackermans from Mondelez and Philippe Chandebien from Fos Plus, the Belgian PRO. Welcome to everybody. It's good to see many of you on the line. I know some of you already quite know about this initiative, this market demonstrations. Others are new to the topic. So for the former, just bear with us while we walk you through all the details around the Belgian initiative. But worry not, we also have some news to share since our last session that was held on the 31st of October. Without further ado, I will start sharing the presentation, and while this loads, just some housekeeping rules and some remarks. We will have around 45-minute presentation, and we will also have time around 15 minutes for the questions. Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you fine, Margherita.
Okay, good. So maybe if I invite people who don't hear me to just maybe leave the meeting and rejoin, that should work fine. As I was mentioning, we will have a Q&A at the end. And now you're all muted and with your camera disabled, but when there will be the Q&A session, you can just raise your virtual hand or type your question in the Q&A, and we will pick it up. Or if you want to speak, we will also allow you to unmute yourself. Of course, the presentation will be shared with all of the registered participants, and I will also make the recording to the webinar available. Like the previous one, it's going to be shared on the AIM YouTube channels, but I will share that with you also in the follow-up email. And last but not least, if there's going to be not enough time for all of the questions today, please write them in the chat, because then we are compiling an FAQ document that we will also share with you, and we can address those questions there. So you also have them handy for future occasions. And without further ado, I'm happy to start. And why not starting with all of the member companies that are already part of this journey. You can see all of them here. So it's really, again, like HolyGrail 2.0, this Belgian market demonstration is a cross-value chain collaboration, because it cannot be otherwise for our objective. We see there are already 4 participating brand owners. It's PepsiCo, Ferrero, Mondelez, and the new one is JDE Peet's. We also have Mars, but there is conversation still in progress, but we're getting there. Besides them, we also have some what we call founder members, because they're not directly participating with their digital watermark packaging in this initiative yet, but they are willing to start already supporting with the project going forward. We're also in conversation with other major brand owners and retailers. And we also have the confirmation of participation from already 37 associate members. Essentially, what we want to do today with you is to explain you how we see the Belgian market demonstration in reality, and of course, encourage you to be part of this initiative. You can see then the whole other roster of companies and organizations and associations that are on board already, including the one and only PRO, Belgian PRO, Fos Plus, represented today by Philippe, and to whom I will now leave the floor.
Yes, thank you, Margherita. Good afternoon, everybody. So like Margarita mentioned, FOS Plus is the Belgian producer responsibility organization for household packaging. So we are a full supporter of this initiative because firstly, one of our role, we are the responsibility of 5,000 members that are members of FOS Plus in order to get the recycling objectives. And these 5,000 members, there are a lot of brand owners, small size to big size like PepsiCo, Mondelez, and the other ones that have been mentioned. But also all the retailers are members of FOS Plus. And so in that role, we can communicate and motivate them and inform about the progress of such a project. Secondly, we are coordinating and financing the collective selection in Belgium, in the whole country, with a collection of plastic packaging, flexibles and rigid together in a blue bag or PMD, where we collect next to packaging also metals and beverage carton. We coordinate, we finance the collection, the selective collection. We also coordinate the sorting and finance the sorting activities, as well as we sell the material to recyclers. So that's why we are playing a role here, because some of the bales containing PP Flex will be sent to the next partner in this value chain, to Hüngen in Germany. That's a sorting plant that has already a HolyGrail line with Pelinck equipment. And so both Hüngen Pelinck will be able to sort the PP flexible food that have been marked by the selected technology provider, Digimark, that will be able to enhance the packaging together with the brand owners. But I think on that technology provider and activity, Richard will speak a bit more on that on the next slide. And I hand it over to Richard for the next steps in this value chain.
Yeah, thanks Philippe. Thanks Margarita, and hi everyone. Now, if you flick back, Margarita, I think there's the reason why we start on this chart is for those of you tuned in October, we've continued to build the roster. But the important thing about this page is it's a real all members of the value chain collaboration. So we need to not just have intelligently sorted material, we need to start proving the economics of the recyclers who take this material, what different types, what's suitable for mechanical recyclers, what's suitable for dissolution. And then the recyclers in turn need to have collaborations with film producers to make sure that the quality is right and the same sort of packaging can be produced. And we've signed up even more packaging converters since October as well. So it's not just about the watermarking and the brand owners, although of course we need more retailers and brand owners. The more tonnage we watermark, the more we can accelerate the whole proposal that we'll walk you through in the next few slides. But it's really important that we're all collaborating. We've even got research and university members who will help us with some of the food contact approval questions and help us with some of the de-inking and decontamination tech. So it's really important that this isn't just about intelligent sorting anymore. It's really learning and proving everything downstream and doing everything we can to close the loop back to recycled content. So this slide's important, and hopefully we want more names on this page. We don't need to get too unwieldy, but we need the whole industry value chain involved in this. So what involved in what? That's the next slide. Thanks, Margarita. So hopefully you've got the gist by now that this is about polypropylene flexible packaging in Belgium, where FOS Plus have got control of the material. The ultimate aim is getting circularity back to food contact flexible PP, because we know it's about an 85-15 split of food contact applications for polypropylene flexible versus non-food contact. For those of you who don't know really anything about digital watermarks, the picture on the right sort of gives the gist of it. So it's packaging that looks like standard conventional packaging, but in the pixels of the artwork, we've managed to, with Digimark's coding, do effectively the equivalent of QR codes that high resolution cameras can pick up. That is the digital watermark. So it not only acts as a sort of positive detection mechanism, but it also can link to a digital passport of information. Is the packaging food contact, non-food contact? Is it lightly inked or heavily inked? Is it metallized? Is it not metallized? We can program that with whatever data we need, working in partnership with the recyclers to find out which materials we can most accurately link to the appropriate recycling. And the grand context of all of this is, if we want to have food contact flexible polypropylene recycled plastic to hit PPWR requirements on the 1st of January 2030, today chemical recycling is the only way we can do that. And we're trying to build the bigger roster of complementary recycling technologies from mechanical, physical, chemical, so that there's all kind of, we've got more options basically. That's a big part of what we're trying to achieve with this, first of all, market demonstration, and then eventually scale up, and as it says at the top, towards a Belgian landing strip. But of course, eventually, this isn't just relevant for Belgium, this is relevant globally, and certainly scaling up in Europe before that. So the timescale, we wanted to get started right at the beginning of this year and go through to the end of 2026. We're close now, I think, to working out the right sizing, the scale of the project for the funding that's available. The more people who join, the more freedom we have to scale up and do the full range of watermarking and recycling trials that we had in the original scope. But we absolutely need to get started by March, and we'll cover that in a later slide. Covered the material. The sorting technology is digital watermarking. Digimark is the most advanced in terms of TRL, technical readiness level, at TRL 9. And again, AIM will be issuing a report of the final write-up of effectively what was HolyGrail 2.0, the whole proving the technology of digital watermarking. Now, during and by the end of this market demonstration, we know that at every stage of the value chain, we want free competition. So we're closely monitoring object recognition and artificial intelligence. At the minute, it's not quite there for high degree of sorting for flexible packaging. It's much more advanced for rigids that has a more defined shape. And obviously other intelligent sorting technologies are being closely monitored. And I think there's a few registered on this call today. So we basically need at this stage to be working with a technology that we know works, but eventually we want to be agnostic. We're interested in the intelligently sorted material and proving the economics of that downstream so that sorters can invest in technologies, and then the recyclers can invest in infrastructure to physically recycle. We're going to need hundreds of thousands of tons of recycled content by the 1st of January 2030, and we are behind schedule in terms of proving and building scale of relevant technologies. So we know we don't necessarily need intelligent sorting, food contact, non-food contact for chemical recycling. So the recyclers for this market demonstration, we're focusing on mechanical recycling with de-inking and advanced decontamination technologies, and on dissolution recycling, which kind of by dissolving the plastic and recrystallizing it kind of takes a lot of the contamination out that way as well. But there's a lot that we need to learn. The deliverables, because we'll have this kind of pipeline of pre-sorted material. So as we build scale, we can do regular trials of that sorted material and send batches of increasing size to the different recyclers. And then we can get real value estimates in real life of what this material is like, the quality of it, and the value of that to the recyclers. And then we can start to model some return on investment calculations and build business cases. And then, of course, we've got a pretty clear program of what we want to do. I'd say the funding level we're comfortably about 2/3. We'll cover later on potential other applications for funding we're making, and we've already had some positive news there. And then the way it gets the project gets funded effectively, some of that funding goes to a central fixed license fee model via FOST Plus to work with Digimark for the digital watermarks. We've got an estimate of various logistics costs and trials at different sizes. So the more funding we have, the more of that program we can deliver. And of course, we need some ongoing project management fees via the European Brands Association AIM. And we've got a slide at the end that covers some of the other funding that we're applying for as well. So a lot to take in on that chart. Maybe, are there any questions in the chat at this stage, just to make sure that we're clear so far?
Not yet.
Okay, so next chart I think is it's back to you, Margarita, to share the sort of the phased approach.
That's right. Indeed, as you can see here, we have a staged approach towards ultimately our end goal is to make sure that we will be compliant with the PPWR requirements in terms of recycled content in plastic packaging, which will be applicable and enforced as of 1st of January 2030. For the moment, we are in preparation mode. So we are communicating about our robust plan. Another box that is ticked is that we have clarified all of the recycling paths that Richard was just mentioning, and we've also identified the required volume to get meaningful learnings out of this. Richard was also mentioning the project costs, which are now being clarified, and there's also some funding opportunities that we have looked at, and we will discuss them in the very last slide. The governance is also agreed in the sense that it will still be facilitated by AIM, just like the HolyGrail 2.0 R&D that ran since 2019 and which is now coming to an end. So we really want to go into market demonstration. So the step one that you see in the middle of the slide. And we want to take the go decision towards this first step by March 2025, so by next month. And this will be subsequently followed by the first packaging enhancement. Philippe will now talk about the market demonstration and the step 2 towards the landing strip.
Yes, thank you, Margarita. So like you mentioned, the goal is to have a kickoff by March and start enhancing packaging probably in April. And this for 2 years, 2025 and 2026, with the goal to have a demonstration that we have identified a solution, operational solution, that we are able with food flex packaging coming from waste, from post-consumer, to go back to food flexible packaging. That would be naturally the holy grail. We might need to go back to traditional flexible packaging first, non-food, probably then in between cosmetics, and then later to food. What we will do during these 2 years is send bales of flexible fraction. We call in Belgium, we call that other flexible. These are bales coming from the blue bag that are sorted in Belgium in one of the 5-6 big sorting plants that we have in Belgium. These are bales containing mostly PP flexibles. So we have also other bales, other fractions with PE flexibles. So they are out of scope. We will only send the bales containing other flexible, mostly PP flexible, food and non-food. We will send that to our partner in Germany, Hüngen, with the existing HolyGrail equipment, with Pelenc equipment. He will be able to sort this fraction into food PP flexibles, and he will naturally have a second fraction with all the others flexible. With the food, high quality PP food flexibles, we will start do the recycling trials, monitor them, with different recyclers. We have a good conversation and a plan with 5 of them. And the goal is to gather and monitor and assess the food grade compliance of these trials. It's also the goal to have indication about the value of this high quality food flexibles material, and to make a return on investment calculation for both the recycling case, because the recyclers need to invest and increase their capacity to make this possible, but also return on investment calculation on the sorting business case, including the need for licensing to be able to sort these food flexible packaging. After the project, after the demonstration, we have much more information about economic viability of the solution and the operational possibilities. In that case, we in Belgium would like to do a landing strip, so to cover all the country, and in order to be able to sort all the PP food flex that are enhanced with digital watermarking. To do that on an economical way, we probably would prefer to have one central location in order to do that in Belgium. It could be our partner, a current recycler of the other flex in Eco in Oud-Halen, but it certainly also could be any other central location where we can have this sorting and then recycle after the food flexible sorted packaging to the appropriate recyclers that we have been in contact and learned together with them in the step 1. So that's the goal, and naturally to start EFSA approval process with the target to have end of 2029 food EFSA approval. We certainly need to require acceleration in all these important steps in order to be ready by January 1st when we need to meet the PPWR target. I don't know if Richard or Marita, you want to add something? Please go ahead.
No, that's great, Philippe. I mean, the focus now is get as many people on the bus as we kick off. We want to continue to keep it open for the rest of the year and get more volume, because then we can accelerate the more people get involved. And our focus at the minute is that middle section by the end of next year to have really proved the economics and proved which type of materials are best for which type of recycling, and beyond the pathway to getting really clear data to be generating EFSA dossiers for food contact. If we've got all of that, we've got the best possible chance then of investing into localize back into Belgium and actually export all of the learnings into applying intelligent sorting far wider than just Belgium, actually. So landing strips in Belgium, but also potentially applying those learnings anywhere in the EU or globally. EU will have the fastest on the most urgency, but of course, because it's got regulation about recycled plastic. Other regions in the world are still catching up in that respect.
And then indeed, maybe to follow what Richard mentioned, it's today a webinar to inform you, but also invitation and call for action, because we need more supporters, specifically brand owners and retailers. We have already 3 brand owners, Ferrero, Mondelez, and PepsiCo, that have communicated their intention to enhance their packaging for a total of 650 tons per year. The target of the project is to reach, by the end of 2025, at least 1,000 tons of enhanced PP food flex packaging, so that we have more material to be sorted and to send to recyclers. We are also, and it's very important, we have a really strong operational scenario. I mentioned it already, we will send all the flexibles to Union, And we have, together with Ungen and with Belang, information about their capacity. So they have the possibility to process 320 tons per month with a 2 shifts per day. And the goal of the project is to have at least 2 waves of 1 to 3 months, depending on the budget we will be able to raise. And if we do this wave of 3 months, we estimate, based on the 1,000 tons marked packaging, that we will at least produce 23 tons per quarter of high quality food flexible packaging. The more volume of marked packaging on the market, the more quantity we will be able to sort, and the more recycling trials and the increased learning for everybody. So that's why it's really a call for action, because what we expect to achieve, we mentioned it already, it's a food grade PP recyclate, first in non-food, maybe in between cosmetics, and then back to food flexible packaging, and to have a pathway for EFSA approval with clear timescales. Concretely, if there are some brand owners, retailers, or people that can communicate to them and inform them about the project, what we need from brand owners and retailers is commitment to the project, ASAP, as soon as possible, because we want to kick off in March or April, no later, and to accelerating and getting to the 1,000 tons marked by the end of this year. We would like that you could, if interested, identify the top SKU, top volume, best sales within your portfolio of PP food flexible packaging, and what and when you will be able to enhance this packaging on the Belgian market. So the criteria, we have put them on the slides: top sales SKU, maybe starting with home consumption, because we have most probably better collection rate there, but we can and certainly be open for all type of SKU. The packaging dimension should be larger than 60 by 60, because if you do not know, the first step is of the sorting is sorting by size, and all very small flexible packaging might be loose if they are smaller than 60 by 60. We naturally focus on design for recycling, and we focus on mono PP, and we are certainly interested in a mix of printing types with different ink levels, a lot of ink, less ink, and so on, in order to have learnings from different type of packaging. Maybe you can go, if nobody has to add something, you can go to the next slide, Margarita. Thanks.
Thank you, Philippe. I have some issues by seeing the Q&A, but a notification popped up. Can you see it, Richard or Philippe, if there's something in the Q&A?
There is one question. You mentioned mechanical recycling and dissolution. Would chemical recycling not be part, and any reason why? So I can take this one, and Richard, you can complete that. Chemical recycling.
Philippe, I've posted an answer to that. Can you see it, or can people see the? Well, we'll come when we open mic at the end.
I do not see
maybe
the
come
answer,
back to it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then let's move forward. Let me illustrate you the membership options for this HolyGrail 2030. And let's start with the full membership, so which is open to the brand owners and the retailers who have flexible PP packaging in the Belgian market. Let's say this membership type can be divided in 2 subcategories. The first one is that you, as a brand owner, you would commit to participating for the 2-year market demonstration for a membership fee of 20K in euro. And this includes also the possibility to enhance your packaging with digital watermarks just for a few SKUs only. And these SKUs, as Philippe was mentioning, need to have a high volume in the Belgian market. The benefits for this membership, full membership type, you can see them on the right-hand side of the screen. So you would be able to participate in all of the members' meetings that are organized and also receive regular updates on the overall project. You can also get access to the project data in aggregated form, of course. And you would also be able to access data at the SKU level. Alternatively, if you really want to be bold and ambitious, then you can sign up for the full membership again with an investment of 70,000 euro again per year. This includes the 20K for the membership fee, which would cover the basic project cost, and also the 50K for the license fee. But in this case, it would not be limited to a few high volume SKUs only, but you would have access to, you could increase a high number of your SKUs. Of course, you would benefit from the same benefits as per the previous membership type, but in addition to that, and this is important to mention it, you would be able to participate in also the leadership team. So you could apply to become a member of the leadership team and influence all of the decisions that are taken, and also, of course, steer the discussion and set the objectives. Another important additional benefit for this membership type is that you would get the right of first refusal, meaning that you can get access to the recyclates that will be produced as part of our market demonstration, which are of, let's say, of food grade, getting there. For all of the other companies, so who are neither brand owner or a retailer, you can also join as an associate member. The financial commitment is smaller because the license fee would also not be included, and it's 3,000 euro also per year. So you would consider, again, it's a 2-year commitment. And the benefits, again, are shown in the slide. So you would be able to participate in the members' meetings, receive regular updates, and also get access, which is also important and relevant to project data in aggregated form.
And Margherita as well. I mean, these are all of the explicit benefits and fees. The implicit one is we've got a massive challenge as an industry to get circularity of flexible food contact polypropylene. So the biggest benefit of being involved in this project is to say you are part of one of the biggest industrial consortiums, pre-competitive, to try and address the problem. So you're part of the solution and not either watching by from the sidelines or worse, part of the problem. So it's really a way to demonstrate proactivity and that we're doing everything we can as an industry, because the very real risk otherwise is if we don't get recycling rates of these materials up, there's going to be increasing pressure to legislate against them. We know grouped packaging in France as part of the AGEC law is already putting some of these grouped multi-pack flexibles under pressure. That pressure will only increase until we can demonstrate at a quantitative level that these materials can be made circular in practice at scale. So we need everyone to be sharing, crowdsourcing a little bit, everyone to be funding the problem, rather than some people trying to solve it and some people watching and not investing. And I know everyone's got budget constraints. We know the cost of living crisis. We know that funding is difficult, but we're not talking for most companies a massive excessive amount of funding here. So we're really trying to get as many companies to chip in and be part of the solution. And knowing that you are part of the solution and your name is on the page is a big benefit in its own right, I think.
Thank you, Richard, for this addition. Is there anything you would like to add, Philippe, at this stage?
No, thank you. I think it's clear for everybody.
Good. I see there are a couple of questions in the Q&A. One is if it's we need like designed for recycling packaging according to the CFLEX recommendation.
So what we'll do, Margarita, because I've been answering the questions as we go on the Q&A. So what we'll do, let's just finish. We've only got another page or two. Let's do that. Then we can come off mic and I can go through the questions and then give the answers we've given, and actually ask people if they're visible or not. Because at the minute it's kind of one way mic, isn't it? So hold that thought on the questions, and we'll easily have time to cover them all.
Right. Good. So then let me go to the last slide. So as we were mentioning, we have we've looked into some potential funding to get outside of the commitment and investment from the member companies, and we're happy to announce that we have been successful in one of our applications. This is Flanders Circular, so the Flanders region here in Belgium, which granted us 100,000 euros for this project. So very good job to my team for getting that. Of course, we're also exploring additional funding opportunities. You can see the timeline for the submission of the application there. So we're working, looking also at the AEPW, who has been also the funding partner of HolyGrail 2.0. There is the EIT, so the European Institute of Technology funding. There is a window of opportunity for submitting an application in May 2025, and we also want to hit that. There is also another funding, which is the Cook funding, with the application timing to be determined. And so we will also, of course, closely monitor that. When it comes
to Margarita, just to add on that. So historically in HolyGrail 2.0, the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, which is AEPW, they were a majority funder. So they funded a lot of the CapEx, a lot of the infrastructure, a lot of the trials, and we're really grateful to them for that. They have committed that flexible plastic circularity is one of their core strategic priorities going forward. Their various internal meetings and making sure we've closed off HolyGrail 2.0 means they can only confirm funding in March 2025, but we're really confident that they will at least match the industrial funding, which is already several €100,000 already committed. So although we haven't confirmed that number yet, the chances of success there are incredibly high, and we thank the Alliance for being so supportive. The EIT funding, we made an initial application and got great feedback saying this is exactly the sort of thing that the EU wants to fund. But of course, because we haven't yet got the full members of the consortium nailed down and we don't have the full return on investment from the recyclers yet, ironically, that's one of the things we'll need to learn about in the project. So we're going to try and drill down a bit harder in terms of what would the expected payback be, and how could we effectively repay that seed of funding from the European Institute of Technology for Food. And then the Cook one is really exciting, and they had a project last year. We're just in conversations with them now. They're keen to potentially partner with us, and we've just got to work through the work. Yeah, but the more people who get involved, the more we can spread that workload and make things happen quicker.
Thanks for complimenting Richard, for giving more details. Now, let's go towards the little bit of the wrap up of this presentation with some deadline for you. So if we have piqued your curiosity and interest in participating, and we hope we have done so, then you can just let us know in writing by contacting us if you want to register as a member. And the deadline for doing so is end of this month. And then we would need also the final confirmation participation. So meaning that you would need to also fill out the registration form to the links that you see also on this slide by mid-March 2025. This will help us get certainty around the timeline for the project itself. The market demonstration itself, as indeed we aim, as we were mentioning, to have a go decision and make then the first packaging enhancement already next month, so in March. You can see again the committed companies who are already on board on the right-hand side of the slide. You also see that I have included the registration links, so you have them handy. And with that, I would like to thank you for the attention. And now, unless my colleagues have anything to add, would like to see if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's great, Margherita. So let's open up the mic and then I'll start curating what I can see in the Q&A and we'll just compare notes of what everyone else can see. And also just to say, for the people who attended the October webinar, originally we were intending to get this sort of signed and sealed by the end of December last year. So effectively, you can see we're into a kind of March, so we're into about a 2 or 3 month delay, just because, unsurprisingly, people don't just wade in and throw 50,000 euros easily into stuff. And we probably underestimated the amount of time just to get this into the collective consciousness and realize this is our best shot, probably in Europe, for accelerating a pathway to other sources of food contact, recycled polypropylene flex plastic. I mean, a lot of external forums, and this is head and shoulders the most advanced opportunity we've got. And that's a nice segue into one of the questions, because it's at the end of 2023, there was intended to be a pilot conducted in France. And actually, HolyGrail, who's our project manager for Belgium, was the project manager for that. And ultimately, that got stopped. Why? Not because there wasn't interest upstream from Citeo and from some brand owners, but because there wasn't this downstream commitment of multiple recyclers and potentially downstream film producers. They hadn't developed that part of the value chain, and therefore there was no economic model to prove, because there weren't enough recyclers saying, yeah, we'll take this material, we'll validate the quality, we'll see how that works in our process. It's really helped having some specific recyclers, Belgian based, and beyond Belgium. So Borealis have been very proactive. Pure Cycle are building or intending to build a full-scale industrial dissolution plant in Antwerp in Belgium by 2028, and have an active plant already in the US that can prove the feedstock quality. So again, all of this takes time to build. The France one didn't go anywhere. I think if we prove this in Belgium, we could easily kickstart that pilot in France again. But again, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. One thing at a time and all that. Let's make sure we get this one off the ground. But I really believe this will be the launching platform for bigger and better things. So the other question I saw, I think, Margherita, you picked up on was, do you have a target quantity per SKU? So I published an answer, which maybe only Yves can see. Can anyone? I said there is just an overall tonnage target. So obviously, the higher the tonnage per individual SKU, the better. But there isn't a target. I mean, you could argue that if it is only one kind of like 1 ton or less of a SKU, it probably isn't worth the watermark at this stage. But I wouldn't want to be too restrictive at all, because literally it will all build up. So the more the better. The other question I can see is designed for recycling. Is that according to the C-Flex recommendation? Absolutely. So monomaterial, and actually we will be a bit more subtle, but we'll want to digitally watermark material that is surface printed and lightly inked, and carry that information in there. If it's sandwich printed and heavily inked, we want to carry that information because you might need different levels of coatings or decontamination tech. And we really want more startups and decontamination and coating technology providers to join as associate members, because this is a perfect testing ground for your decontamination tech and separation tech. And also metallization. We know that that is an optical contaminant for mechanical recycling and quite difficult to remove, but probably not a problem or less of a problem for dissolution technology. So again, by having a conscious, we can sort however we need to sort, that's one of the key learnings of the project, is to work out as an industry, are we okay to recycle packaging pretty much as it is today, steering it left or right depending on what type of printing it is? Or do we need to fundamentally take a step back and say the best economic model is you need to do 50% of the amount of printing. You need to think about surface printing, not sandwich printing. So there could be some implications that have more serious implications for how we do printing packaging today. Or it could prove, no, as is okay, or somewhere in between. All of that we have to learn, and you cannot learn that theoretically. You can do research studies, but this will be in-market testing at high quantities and actually just proving the day-to-day economics of the viability of recycling all of these materials. And that's why it's so exciting, because this is real, not simulated or research. So I've covered those two. If you can see them, Philippe, Margarita, do you want to take some of the other questions? So it's not all me.
No, I don't see any more questions, so I'm fully aligned with your feedback, Richard, and we will certainly put them in the Q&A. You see other ones?
Yeah, I can see another one now. And Margarita, can we get people off camera and off mute as well, so that people can start to put their hand up, and because it still says, I can still see the symbols of no camera, no mute on everyone.
Yeah, if you just as a participant raise your hand, I will make sure that you can unmute yourself.
Perfect. So then we've got, regarding the go decision in March, what are the variables you are considering to go or no go? At the minute, I think it's in the first thing to resolve is the original scale. We don't have the full funding for that. We want to start. So FOSPlus and Digimarc are negotiating on the, okay, what could a pay-as-you-go model look like? Because we've got a considerable amount of funding already. Originally, we were thinking about unlimited watermarks and limited licenses. We're now looking at, okay, what do we need right now to start? Because as you can see, we're nearly there. We've got 2/3 of the tonnage committed. We've got gradually increasing numbers of brand owners. So we're close to finalizing, and we have to make that decision in March, because otherwise momentum, I think, will be lost.
Thank you, Richard. Now I will allow the mic for Florence, who raised her hand.
Yes, hello. Thank you.
Hello.
I just have one particular question. I don't see if is the HolyGrail project about companies making their flexible packaging more recyclable, or is it about a new sorting technology in our sorting centers, or is it the combination of both actually that we want to achieve?
I think it's both. I mean, overall, we need to be on a pathway as industry for overall design for recyclability. So we're already making the assumptions that we're going to prioritize recycling of mono polypropylene flexible packaging, not, for example, PET or PP laminated. So that is a path we're already on. After that, we absolutely need to learn whether the packaging that we print today with fully inked and sandwich printed, whether that can still be easily recycled by some of the recycling companies mentioned on the page, or whether we do need to actively investigate upfront lower levels of printing, surface-only printing, coatings to make the inks more easily removable. So I think what this platform gives us is a full test bed to be able to test everything from business as usual packaging to dedicated SKUs that we watermark and say, yeah, we've put this special coating on. This should be easier to de-ink. Borealis, do you agree? Does that work in your recycling plant, for example? So I think it's a combination of both. Yes, Florence.
Okay. Thank you. And a question for Foster Plus then maybe if if there are already some measures taken to include new sorting technologies or new recycling technologies. Is that something you are waiting the further approval of, or is that something that's already in process at the moment?
So thank you for your question. That's the goal of the project, in order to learn if there is a need to have further sorting.
Okay.
And because today we have very good and long-term collaboration with 6 sorting plants that have already invested a lot when we extended the blue bag to all the flexibles, the pot, the tube, and the trays that was not yet collected 4 years ago. So there is not that much space left at their location to do much more sorting. So we first need to learn with that kind of project, and then we can see if we can adapt their sorting equipment, or to have a new central location for dedicated fraction like the other flexibles. That's part of the project, yes.
Okay, thank you. Very clear.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going also to allow the mic for Ezra, who has their hand raised.
Okay, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for this very nice introduction. I just wanted to inform we have finalized a large European project end of November 2024, and it was called Circular Food Bag. So we did a very similar implementation as you have introduced here with another sorting technology. My question is that there will be some challenges to reach the food grade levels during the decontamination, purification, recycling. So my first question is, what do you have a target for the PP, in your case, PCR content in the very beginning? Will you directly go to the targets that are already announced in PPWR, or will you be more ambitious and go for higher, like targeting 2040 targets, which are a little bit more ambitious? And in case that the purification levels are not met, will you also consider using functional barriers? Do you know, for EFSA approval, will you go to that, or how will you, what is the mitigation plan, let's say, in case that the purification levels are not sufficient?
Great, Ezra. You can always spot expert questions, right? Excellent.
I
So
don't know.
two
Yeah.
things. So basically targets are at 2 levels, right? There's the PPWR target is 10% of food contact recycled plastic. So yes, clearly that's the primary thing we need to hit. But I estimate that's hundreds of thousands of tons of food contact polypropylene packaging, rigid and flex, needed to hit that target. There is nowhere near enough chemical recycling infrastructure built yet. And plan A would be we'll build all of that chemical recycling because we know that that is likely to be approved. Still needs to be agreed mass balance, still need to be clarified in PPWR, but that is kind of plan A. But I think we'd all feel more comfortable if there was a roster of complementary technologies that could all get to food contact. And it may well be that chemical recycling, you can get to nearly 100% recycled content. By mass balance, it's not all plastic, so you might need to discount that a little bit, but effectively it's virgin quality plastic again. Dissolution, I think if Pure Cycle are on the call or were on the call, they'd be saying, well, actually, they crystallize it out and they expect it to have very, very similar functionality to virgin grade. Again, very easy to get a high level of that recycler into pack material. Therefore, the higher the rate, the easier you hit your 10% overall industry and EU target. Mechanical and advanced dissolution, then we have to learn. We just have to learn how easy it is to decontaminate, how much you maybe need to cleverly sandwich it within layers of mono PP, a little bit like we do with PET today. Yeah, rigid PET, you can have a kind of recycled layer in the inside and then virgin either side of it to help with the functionality. But that's exactly what we need to learn. We need to learn maximum adoption rates of recycler into these applications for all of the recyclers, and we have to try and hit that overall number, so it all kind of builds up into that bigger picture. So hopefully that answers your question. And then the detail is, for some of it we might need some de-inking tech to make the mechanical recycling part of the industry more profitable and easier to run. But if dissolution actually works at the scale it does, and we have 10 of those plants, we might not need it. So all to play for, yeah, all to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, thank you. We have several results. Maybe it might be an opportunity to share some results from the project.
Yeah, we were talking to Svancha earlier on, and we've made the connection. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will now allow the mic and the camera of the next participant with their hand raised, Patricia.
Yes, thank you very much, Margarita. I'm more interested in the part of the sorting. I mean, before going into recycling, within the project, you mentioned, Philippe, that you will be that the option would be to use the current facilities of the recyclers or the MRFs that you have there. I think you mentioned that there was like 6, but you will be using the technology of the machine that Peleng has been developed, or that initially developed for that. Are you considering also to test or to improve that technology somehow, like adding more automation or more efficient ways to do the sorting, reading still the digital watermarks from Digimark in this stage of the process? I mean, to try to get like the more efficiency or more optimize the mechanical recycling effectivity of the sorting process?
So I will, if I'm not sure I understand the whole question, but I will just repeat the scenario we have in mind.
Yep.
So at Force Plus, we have the blue bag selective collection. We send this blue bag containing all plastics packaging to 6 sorting plant in the Belgian area. At these 6 locations, they sort the blue bag, the PMD, into 16 different streams. So more than 10 plastic stream, like 5 PET streams, 3 to 4 bottles and 1 PET trays, and they have 2 flexible streams. One is the PE flexible. This is out of scope for this project. And the second flexible fraction, we call that in Belgium other flexible, meaning other than PE, meaning that all PP flexibles are in these bales, and these are produced in 6 locations in Belgium. And a part of these bales, preferably from different locations, so we can learn more, will be sent to Ungen. I mentioned the processing capacity at Ungen in Germany, close to Belgium. It's about 320 tons per month with 2 ships. So we will send for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on the funding. And there they have installed next to traditional near infrared equipment like we have in the 6th location. They have also a further second equipment with high camera resolution in order to recognize the packaging that have been marked with the digital watermarking. And so Ungen will be able to sort out these food marked packaging, and then we can process with test, recycling test, and much more learning. I hope it's more clear.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much. So what I'm hearing is that the only facility that will have the digital watermark technology to decode and read, it would be only one, but coming from the other 6 locations. Correct?
Yes, it's right. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So my question was more related if in the other 6 locations you will put or the project covers a light investment on putting digital watermark technologies or reading technologies in those locations just to probably improve the process or get more efficient before it gets to the location where they gather the recycling or not.
So Patricia, that's the $1 million question, right? What we're trying to do is pre-sort the material, generate to the recyclers how much money do you make on this, and they go, ooh, lots of money, thank you very much, we'd like more of that material. And then the sorters have got a business model to invest in and propagate out the intelligent sorting technology. That's why we think the France test potentially failed, because we didn't have that commitment end of line to saying who's going to pay for the recycler. Now we also need to go further down and go, right, which brand owners are going to pay to use recycled content? So the recyclers have got a business model, but you see what I mean about the circular economy?
It is.
You need to pull it all together. Yeah.
I'm asking is because we're partnering also with Digimark because we embedded that technology and we're talking to brand owners. It is the chicken and egg question all the time, right? So we don't put it because it is no infrastructure, but then the infrastructure doesn't have the reading technology. So basically, it is the same kind of technology that we use for the brand owners on the inspection systems. So we make their lives easier, saying, okay, with the same ones, you also have the possibility of having the Digimark's decoding, but then there's the other parts of the stakeholders along the value chain that will need to get involved, and probably that's something that we need probably to work together, all of us here, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. I see Adrian. I'll also allow your mic so you can
ask a question. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Colgate is in the house.
Yes.
Good to see you again, Adrian.
Good. Nice to see you as well. I just have one question. In this, let's say, Belgium pilot, how much is the whole topic regarding GS1, data management, data across the value chain, and so on featured? What part of it that would be? I would be interested on that area. Let's say where you see that, let's say, particular topic in that pilot in the scope here.
Yeah, it's a super important question. So we're still, after HolyGrail 2.0, we're still supporting the kind of GS1 sort of open market. But again, for this project, that's not critical. We just need to make sure that we've got positive identification of the different sorted materials and prove the economics of it. But going forward, the intention is absolutely to have open access, GS1 compatible, multiple providers of digital passport, but all to a GS1 standard. And our cycle are, I think Ralph was on the webinar, and Kai from GS1 are part of the core working group. So we're making sure that at the end of all of this, we know we've got the standards that were developed for HolyGrail 2.0. We may need some additional standards in there, like level of inking or reverse printed or sandwich printed versus surface printed. If we do, we'll co-develop those standards, and that's their role on the team, is to make sure that whatever coding we need to put into packaging to optimize its downstream recycling is all adopted into a new or expanded GS1 standard. So it's a great question, Adrian. We didn't really focus on that today, but it's a core part. It's a core part of the work.
Yes, and there will be a dedicated working group on that for you to know and complement. Rohin, we have your next in line. Let me.
So Rohin, thanks for waiting patiently. I've seen all your comments in the Q&A and the chat thread. Now is your moment of microphone. There you go.
Hi there. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. No, thanks for bearing with me. Just have a quick question. It's It's to do with Sunrise 2027. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, I guess, push for 2D barcodes. But my question is really, can some of these other initiatives that are basically relying on things like digital watermarks, could that help to accelerate the HolyGrail project? Are you working in tandem with any of these other initiatives or groups? In the sense that if the digital watermark was there for a different reason, then that may actually accelerate your ability to then leverage that for HolyGrail?
I'd say sadly no, Rowan, right? So the digital connectivity will have lots and lots of benefits, but the barrier at the minute for it being used specifically in the recycling industry is the so what if it's intelligently sorted? What's the business model downstream of that? Now, so it's the other way around. Once we've proven that by sorting this stuff out with different recyclers, there's a market and it's economically viable, and downstream there are people who will use their recycled content, that will enable digital watermarks as one and probably a very viable way to make that happen. Once that's happened, there is a ton of spin-off benefits of being able to put coding into packaging for consumer education, 2D barcodes, etc., etc. Or you could even use the digital watermark. If Digimark were on the call, they'd be saying, "Yeah, you don't need a 2D barcode. You can use the watermark." So all of that, I think, comes later. What we've got to prove, though, is almost the sorting business case, and we can only prove that once we've proved the recycled plastic business case. Yeah, so it's a bit chicken and egg. But in the digital world, the power of digital is the connectivity, but the complexity it brings, and imagine how many extra people we'd need to bring in this consortium if we thought about all of the digital possibilities that digital watermarks could bring. Yeah, so that's why we just try and contain it on if we can prove the business model for recycled flex polypropylene plastic via this technology, then we know we can start to invest in it because we've got something that works. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that's super. Thank you very much.
And thanks to you. I don't see any further questions at the moment, but I am also conscious that we are 8 minutes out of time. So what I would suggest is that we close this session, but if you have any further questions, you can just send them over to me. I will reach out to you soon with all of the materials that we have shared today, and then later with the FAQ document. So until then, I would like to thank you again for your participation. Special thanks also to Richard and Philippe for joining me in the session. And we hope to hear from you very soon.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Margherita, also.